Good morning. It's Monday, November 29th. We hope your Thanksgiving holiday was filled with gratitude. Welcome back to Top Story. Go ahead and take a moment to like and subscribe below. Well, it is Cyber Monday, and we're still giving you a shot at 6 months of World Watch for just $20. Now, this is your last day to get the deal. Plus, you'll also get a chance to enjoy the full World Watch show today. There's more, but now, this is Top Story. NASA sent a huge dart hurtling into space. No, not that kind of dart. The double asteroid redirection test. Researchers want to determine if intentionally crashing a spacecraft into an asteroid is an effective way to change its trajectory, should one ever be on a collision course with Earth. But don't panic.
First and foremost, these asteroids are not a threat to the Earth. They are not on a path to hit the Earth in the foreseeable future.
NASA hopes the DART spacecraft will crash, literally, that it will slam into a pair of asteroids. The smaller one is the target, the moonlet Dimorphos, which orbits a larger asteroid named Didymos. DART is about the size of a vending machine with long solar arrays. It will be traveling 15,000 miles per hour when it collides with Dimorphos next fall. Smaller here is relative. Dimorphos is the size of Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza. Ramming the space rock won't destroy it, but could nudge it enough to change its future path.
DART has to measure the amount of deflection, and then we want to understand why that deflection came about, how it works. So it's all about measuring the momentum transfer.
DART is NASA's first planetary defense test and an important technological demonstration. Part of the new infrastructure bill just passed by Congress will require taking a test each time you get in to drive to see if you've been drinking. As early as 2025, all new cars manufactured for the United States would need to have a system that prevents cars from starting if the driver is at the legal limit for alcohol or higher. As of right now, there are two ways to determine that limit, with either breath-sniffing sensors or finger scanning detectors.
The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety predicts roughly 9,400 deaths annually would be avoided with this technology.
There are concerns about the technology, though, like could cars refuse to start with a false positive? Or will the cars be used as witnesses against the owner if they ever had to go to trial? Not to mention the extra cost to the car buyer. A discovery so big it deserves its own exhibit, soon to be opened just outside of Mexico City. During excavations for a new airport, workers found ancient bones. Airport construction was paused, and archaeologists came in with shovels and brushes to uncover the find, which turned out to be mammoth. More than 100 mammoth skeletons have so far been unearthed, as well as other Ice Age mammals.
The idea of this project is to study the collection for several years to find out about the health and diseases of these animals. We want to find out through their DNA what other species or groups of mammoths they are related to, and also explain why they became extinct in this area.
In the lab, paleontologists clean and preserve the bones before they go on display at the Paleontological Museum in Santa Lucia, Mexico. Israel. Archaeologists have unveiled the ruins of a Hellenistic fortress, devastated in a revolt that's tied to the celebration of Hanukkah. In the 2nd century before Christ, the Maccabees, a Jewish rebel group, had taken control of Judea. What these archaeologists found was a fortified structure with 7 rooms and stone walls 3 yards thick. They also discovered a layer of artifacts, including weapons, charred wooden beams, and dozens of ancient coins. Archaeologists believe the structure was part of a fortified line erected by army commanders to protect the city during attack. The excavation directors said the finds were tangible evidence of the Hanukkah story, which is celebrated with a festival of lights. This year's Hanukkah celebration began this week, and we'll explain Hanukkah after the break.
I love BJU because of the emphasis on hands-on learning. Doing what I'll be doing in my future career has given me the confidence to know I can succeed as a nurse.
You've probably seen one of these before. It's a menorah, the most recognizable symbol of Hanukkah. But what is Hanukkah? Well, Hanukkah is a Jewish festival, sometimes called the Festival of Lights, celebrated for 8 days around November or December. The holiday is a celebration in honor of a small band of Jews that rededicated their temple after years of persecution. The first ever Hanukkah started during a dark time in the history of Israel. After Alexander the Great conquered Syria, Egypt, and Israel, he allowed people to continue observing their religions. But about 100 years later, Antiochus IV came to power and began oppressing the Jewish people. He outlawed the Jewish religion and brutally killed Jews who wouldn't comply. He also appointed a Hellenistic high priest. Hellenistic means Greek-influenced, and that high priest offered unclean sacrifices on the temple altar. A band of pious Jews got fed up and led a small group of fighters against the Syrian army. They were known as the Maccabees, and they succeeded in driving out the foreigners. The Maccabees had priests cleanse the temple and rededicated it on the 25th day of Kislev on the Jewish calendar. On our calendar, that's in the winter. Some years it lands in November, other years in December. Now, when they came to the temple to relight the temple menorah, they searched for the holy oil, but only found one small jar. Miraculously, that oil is said to have burned for 8 days, and that event inspired the way Hanukkah is celebrated, with the lighting of candles and menorahs for 8 days.
Well, tomorrow is Giving Day, which actually started about 10 years ago as a specific organization. Now it's more generally a day for everyone to focus on just that, charitable gifts. And Taylor Hebert reports that the need seems to be growing.
On Tuesdays and Thursdays, people are lined up right outside these doors at Bread Incorporated for its weekly food giveaway. And with the increase in demand for families, there's new challenges these workers are facing. Rising food prices, supply chain disruptions, low inventory, labor shortages, you name it. It's all affecting food banks like Bread Incorporated.
Usually at the grocery store you can order in advance, and now the stores, because of the limited supply, they're cutting back on that. And usually we order 300 pieces of meat, different kinds of stuff for Christmas and Thanksgiving, holiday time, and our order got canceled this year. So we were just kind of like, well, we're not able to do what we would normally do.
More and more families are relying on this food bank. Because of inflation, they can afford less and less to shop at stores.
I had one lady come yesterday, and she said, I went to the store and I expected to buy quite a bit, and she said, I didn't come away with very much at all. And she was just thrilled with what we gave her. She said, I should have come here first.
It's the same story at food pantries all across the country.
I'm come here because I need food for my family. You know why? Because the stores is very expensive, the food, and my money is not enough.
Dry oatmeal has increased 17%. Now it costs around $3. That may not seem like a lot, but it adds up for these charities. The food director for the Alameda County Community Food Bank in Oakland, California, said they are spending an extra $60,000 a month on food, spending $1 million a month to distribute 4.5 million pounds of food. Pre-pandemic, they only needed to distribute about half that, and it cost them a quarter of what they are spending now. And even though it may be a challenge, Moore reminds us,
when the shortages come, God just supplies the need.
If you own a cat, you probably spend a lot of time asking, where's the cat? They always slip out of sight for naps, and though you can't find them, they know exactly where you are. A recent study published by peer-reviewed journal PLOS One showed that cats make a mental map to track where their owner is based on noises around them. Have you ever noticed how their ears still twitch and move around while they sleep? That's the mental map at work. One of the tests included calling the cat's name using the owner's voice from different locations. The first time, the cat continued sleeping, but with a second call, which was a longer distance away, the cat sat up looking confused. So, cat owners, unless you're able to throw your voice to another room, there will be no sneaking up on the cat, even when they're catching a cat nap. I know what Sizzle the polar bear was thankful for Thanksgiving. Her 2 new twin cubs, born at Germany's Rostock Zoo. The bears weigh between 1 pound and 2 at birth, and it takes them a while to grow into that beautiful white coat. They're almost naked at birth. While it'll be almost 2 months before the babes stand up on their feet, as you can hear, they have no problem making a racket. Mom's doing a great job taking care of her 2 babies. And the zoo's doing their best to keep the polar bears stress-free. Make sure to check out the full site at worldwatch.news. You can try out the show free for a month. And remember, whatever the news, the purpose of the Lord will stand.